No, I stopped actually drinking out of. I have only one vessel in plastic that I drink from a day. The rest, I'm a metal mama now
Ooh, metal
because
water. Okay.
microplastics are horrible.
Yeah. What about paper? What about paper bag or box water? Is
I'm
that
not
okay?
drinking water from a box. I'd rather put my mouth to the faucet, which I already do, honestly. Hi,
Intro.
everyone. Welcome back to Between Two Coaches. I would say I missed you, but I was on a beach and Nick was in America. I was in America too. I just
What?
was not in the mainland. So anyway, we're back. We're back. We're on a mission to make fitness more human, snark sold separately. I'm Coach Amanda, and I'm joined as always by my co-host.
Nick. Hey, thanks everyone for joining us. We have a great episode today. And
You're
I
right.
might say it every time, but I
No,
actually
you're
mean
right.
it today because
It
it's going to
is.
be great. We are talking about our view on social media's obsession with fitness and running influencers. We think they're a little bit obsessed, and with some things happening in the last week and just in general the vibes are not vibing. So we're going to dive into it and we're going to have some fun conversations. Isn't that right, Amanda?
It sure is, Nick. Nick, as you said.
Amanda.
How was your week away from me?
It was sad. I
Really?
missed it. I missed our normal Tuesdays, like hopping on and like chatting with you and laughing and being scared that I'd say something and you yelled at
Oh.
me, and the normal give and take that I love. So, without that fear, it was like, okay. But anyway, no, it was fine. I forgot it's been 2 weeks. So yeah, it did a lot of stuff, did some running, fought for my life at work. So that's
Literally?
fun.
Literally his life? Okay.
Literally. Yeah. Kids are doing a lot of activities. So we're rolling with that. We got some dance and some swimming. So that's been fun. Hosting some sleepovers at our
Wow.
house. Oof. Like, yeah, that's everyone stayed up till 12 o'clock.
Night?
So yeah,
When?
we let. I was last Saturday. Everyone just kind of kept vibing, and I'm normally up till like 11:30. So for me on a Saturday night, it's like whatever. But like Kelly was on the struggle bus,
I have not
so
seen that hour. I'm not exaggerating. Years. Like probably, yeah, almost
years.
10 years probably.
What about New Year's Eve? How do you know if the New Year starts off right if
I'm
you're
not
not awake
awake
for
for
it?
it.
I can't tempt fate like that. I need you awake to make sure the new year starts
And
off
how
okay.
has it panned out for you?
It's been okay. We've been every year we've made it and started off right.
Have we made it?
Yeah. I don't
Like,
know.
what about this year,
Depends
for
on
example?
making.
How would you? Okay.
I describe it as lackluster and not great and not good.
Highly
But
recommend you
we're
go to
here.
bed at 9:30 p.m. December 31st,
Ooh,
20. No,
that's early.
it's not. It's actually not
I'm gonna try to go to bed before 11 this week. That's my
this
new
week. All right,
goal.
we'll take
Yeah, we're gonna get that sleep score up above a 0.
11. Good God. What time are you waking up in the morning?
You're up at like 4, aren't you?
Mm-mm. I'm up at, yeah, but
No.
okay, so let's take a step back. I'm up at earliest 5:30 a.m. and it's only 2 days a week because
Okay.
I take no time to get ready in the morning. Zero time.
I used to not. When I worked from home, I would roll out of bed and my computer would be on in less than 3 minutes. Now I have to drive and put on appropriate clothing, and it makes my commute much worse. I have to shower and stuff because like people will smell me.
Okay, so I have had an in office job for this whole time. There was no virtual for me. Okay, so I am quote unquote in the office at 6 a.m., 6:15. But I'm
Yeah.
power walking with a Pop Tart, Scandinavian swimmers,
Yeah.
or whatever I can get my hands on that's quick and able to be snacked on either a subway or on the walk over to the Equinox. In any event, I don't know how we got to this place, but what I'm saying,
We didn't, but we're there and it's great. But I agree. Yeah, I would say my week
You had a
was
good week.
okay. I have done a good job of, as my stress has gone up. One of the things I realized over the last couple of years was it's easy to, Dave Goggins your life and say, well, you just push through all the stress and you just run a million, you do your
Don't do
normal
that.
mileage. And like there's people who like who still can do it, right? And they could run their mileage. But my problem has always been like it's not just running the normal mileage and fitting in all my runs. It's the fact that like when I'm super stressed, I can't eat as much as I normally can because I'm in fight or flight mode half the day and I'm not hungry and I don't fuel. And so I could be dumb and be like, okay, I'm going to still do my 18-mile run and my 10-mile run and then like not eat because I can't. Or I could just adjust because my body's not feeling it before I get some random injury or something. So the last 2 weeks, my mileage went down a bit. My long runs definitely went down because I didn't feel comfortable pushing 18 or 20 without the fueling around it. And I felt okay with it. I felt good in that I'm in control of the situation versus like clinging to life on the other
And
end.
overextending yourself, knowing that you have time and you have all of these cycles, micro and meso.
Ooh,
Just gave you some little training tea,
little
little
coach
little
words. We
coach
like
words.
it.
Yeah, you stack fitness for not just the weeks, the months, the years, right? That's how we stay in the game, and you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good for it.
I'm gonna be good. How are you? You look relaxed post vacation, like you're excited to be back and happy the vacation is over. That's the vibe
Wow.
I'm getting.
I I wish I
Yeah.
would show the vibe better on my face then. Yeah. And we had a good break. Went to San Juan, and maybe we could dive a little bit more into that on the Patreon.
Yes.
Patreon.
It's
Yes,
coming,
yes, yes,
people.
yes. It was good. Went away, and then when we came back, the day that we came back, or the next day, I also I like to train when I'm on vacation. It doesn't bother me. But I was like, you know what? Do I really feel like doing this medium long run? So it was like 9 miles on it. It was like one of the days. I was like, no. So then instead, what I did was I sat on my ass and I recorded a reel making fun of. It was a parody reel making fun of the recent Advil.
Ooh, we
Yeah,
saw
so
it. It was good.
that was a good rest day activity for me,
Yeah.
and
Good.
I survived my long run this weekend, even though I took off that big workout because it was a workout and a run. I survived this weekend. I survived this whole week, and I'm running.
And you survived flying on a plane, which is nothing to
Don't
be like, we're not overlooking
don't
it this
don't
year.
do that. So I have several people I know. I don't know how this happened to me, who are air traffic controllers, and they're like, the media is doing a lot, and I had to believe them when they said it because I was getting on the flight 2 days later. So even if I gaslit myself
Yeah.
into that, I don't hate it. My husband made sure to clap when the plane landed because he knew that would be something that him and I would really frown upon. And I recorded him doing it. I posted on TikTok, which I have 3 followers on there. And I thought to myself,
Hey,
I was like, oh, he's starting to clap. And then everyone started, my worst nightmare, everyone started,
he started the clap. He did it.
it's a
He's a
massive Delta
trendsetter, huh?
plane of just people clapping. I'm like, oh my God, Nicholas.
What a
Nicholas'
trendsetter.
husband, sit down. Yeah. And then we had a birthday. We had a birthday. We were born.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday again.
It was nice. Had a good day there. And then I had my first, had a long run, first full weekend off. First full weekend off.
Yeah, and the new work schedule that you teased on the episode, and then we never revisited that. The tease was that you have a
It's
new work
amazing.
schedule.
Very,
Yeah, you're doing it.
how rested I felt cannot be understated. I know I've made the
Yeah,
right choice having off Saturday and Sunday and Monday. So bless time off.
the 3-day work week is the vibe.
Yes, yes, it is. Today hit me like a sack of bricks, but I expected that. It's okay.
Oh, and I misspoke. I meant a 3-day weekend, a
I
4-day
know
work
what you
week
meant.
is the vibe. But I know you did, but the listeners might not.
If they were
I don't want to
listening,
get
they also
misquoted.
knew what you meant.
That's true. But that sounds like a
We
lovely
did. We
week.
had a lovely week. And now we are at our current week. So we have a listener love
We do.
review.
I'm gonna read it.
Please do.
Yeah. I'm going to read it for the people. It is from S. Bayer 3. And they said, Season 2. I was one of the people asking Amanda when it's coming back, audibly chuckling while getting my miles in. That's the problem with men. They are not a sandals resort. Just because you can lift a fork to your mouth, ma'am. And so begins Season 2. Thanks for all the snark and spirit in my ears. We love that review, and we love when you quote Amanda. We're going to put Amanda on a t-shirt
Don't
one
do
day.
that. It's not a good looking.
Well, your
Okay,
quotes, not
thank you.
you.
That'd be fine. That'd be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Shout out to S Bear. That is S Bear is one of my Sarahs who I train. Yep. She also works with shout out to Holly and shout out to Vicky. She's a part of the trio.
Ooh, she's a part of the
She's in the
triangle.
trio.
Yeah,
So Sarah, you're a real one, and I'll see you tomorrow.
literally,
Yes,
maybe.
yes, I will. That was so sweet, and she's right. We are off to a great start.
Thanks for the reviews as
Yes,
always, people. Keep them coming, and we'll keep reading them because I like to read.
and you're very good at it, Nick.
I read at a normal level for my age.
I need everyone who's listening to this to pause and pull up the video of Nick's.
We're dying here.
It was giving Forrest Gump. It was, oh my goodness. All right, let's talk. Let's talk. All right, let's give a little background, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
So, we wanted to talk to y'all about our view on social media's obsession with fitness and running influencers, and what in part it inspired this topic and conversation was it last week? It was last week. So, bringing everyone up to speed, there were some fitness and running influencers who were approached by a brand called Advil. You've heard of them.
I've heard of them.
Many of you have. And Advil paid a flat rate in the investigation.
Some big money, I heard too.
How big do you think the money was?
I can't guess, honestly, because I don't really. I feel like I would be off to guess how much influencers actually make, and I don't really want to know because it would be shocking.
It would hurt you, from what I've gathered.
I do.
Yeah, it could look like 5 figures from some of the information I've received from other influencers, but maybe that's all speculation. So, and a couple of larger, more prominent accounts. Nick, do you follow any of them?
I do not, but I was alerted to them, and I did then find them.
I saw the 3 that really popped out at me. One was actually a physical therapist. She's like a New York based fitness/physical therapist account. I'm sharing the accounts because I think that it's and it's not to shame the accounts. That's not really the point of me sharing them. It's to just kind of give you the understanding of how many people follow these creators. And you can simply look at hashtag Advil partner if you want to see for yourself. I think that's an important part of this conversation, the amount of humans who follow them and take guidance from them or just watch their content. So they posted content that was, from my understanding, approved by the brand because the brand was actively engaging with the content, cheering them on for the content. And because when you work with a brand, you have to submit your content for approval. They basically were sharing, one was sharing like, how I get through marathon training and using Advil as a way to get through marathon training. And the other was talking about how pain was inevitable and that before she engaged in her track session, she popped an Advil.
Yeah, it was, for me, it was the videos, right? Like it was, hey, I'm running a track record. Let me stop and pop Advil. And then for the other one, it was the word choice of calling it my secret weapon.
That's right.
To training. Like that's the wording to me is like what drives me up a wall because like it is intentional. We all are very clear to know. But Ashley Mateo did a lot of good research today about how many people were actually, we can get into that too, but like just how many people actually do use Advil. So like it's choice wording that knows the audience will vibe with it, right? It's not just I just take Advil when I have pain sometimes. cool. Like no one's getting upset about that. Like everyone probably has taken Advil once in their life or multiple times in their life for a headache or a tension headache or whatever we want to call it, right? That's not what we're upset about here. It's the purposeful intention of the content that was created with the words that were
Mm-hmm.
used.
Mm-hmm. It was it's problematic because what it does is, so as a result, let's take a step back. As a result, there were actually several professionals, Vicky, Holly, Dr.
Dr. Lisa.
Lisa. There were several professionals in the space who called attention, and not in a shameful way, but to share actually like, hey, this is dangerous and here's the science and here's why. And their comments and their shares were deleted. And what that does is it doesn't allow for the folks, because we know this, people are in the comment sections of these posts reading other people's comments. So if you see that a sports dietitian is sharing that this can cause GI bleeding and other really horrible things, and then that comment is deleted, that is, you are now making a mistake. You're endangering your following. I just can't understand. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing that happened. As a result of that, it also validated folks to, I don't know if validation is the right word for it, but it made them feel seen. And they're like, yes, I too take Advil, and not seen in the way that's good.
Yeah.
In the way that is like, it's inaccurately supporting a behavior that could have very easily been, it could have been an educational moment for both of these accounts to say that, I don't know how they could have apologized for it, but the way that, we're blaming, and I cannot blame, is Advil to blame? Is the influencer to blame? Influencers know exactly what they're doing. So when an influencer gets approached by a company, and I think about like, I'm a peasant influencer, and I think about the amount of companies that reach out to me. A GLP-1 company reached out to me recently in the last 2 weeks. They present a price that is quite attractive to anyone who would be reading the email. And you have to be able to, these influencers don't have a code of ethics, or apparently even a personal code of ethics, because they're signing up for something that not only is outside their scope of practice, but they're not taking responsibility for the consequences.
Yeah, they're living in an echo chamber, right? And they don't want to hear the negative comments because it'll drive the post down or cause people to they some of them blame the brand and said the brand didn't want negative comments. And again, I will tell you that's a no-no for me. If a brand says, "Hey, make a post," and if anyone says anything negative, delete
Right.
it. There's my personal conduct of ethics being like, oh, why would I do that if you care about your product and I like your product, why do we care if someone says anything negative? Like I'm deleting it like at my page? Absolutely not. So, and to going off of what you said, Amanda, we don't want to make this just about everyone has talked to the Advil thing to death, right? And so the point of today's episode is we were giving you a little bit of like why this topic is important. It's not necessarily about this incident because this incident
All the
happens
time.
5, 8, 10 times a year. Maybe not at this scale because people don't catch it the way they do, but this happens all the time. And so, we really want to dive into what this is all about, how this happens, like what this obsession is, and give that story. And I may have said this already, but like this it's an interesting world that evolved, right? So when COVID hit, like, all this brand advertisement used to exist on TV, right? Like with large actors or actresses and big money and an ad and in newspaper, like, and then COVID hit and everyone was home and then social media took off, right? TikTok and others. And then brands were like, oh shit, I can pay pennies to what I used to pay to give some person with incredible reach my product, and they'll be excited about $5, $20, or $50, just a free pair of sunglasses to toss on their page. Because in the beginning, it was just like, oh, I'm home anyway. I don't, and like, people have obviously evolved their rates over the years. In the very beginning, I don't think anyone had rates. I think they were just like, you will give me a product, you will give me money, sure, I don't care. I have never gotten anything for my life for free, so give me it. Like, it started, the same model exists, right? Like, people start posting and they start getting a following. We've talked about it before, how they become coaches or strength coaches at the same time, and nutrition coaches, and they nail the trifecta. And like, they also get deals, and they get brands to reach out and pay big money, for these types of things as their following increases, right? And so it is social media is lovely in the sense of, hey, you are sharing your journey, you're sharing things about yourself. That's lovely. You're creating a community that's powerful for you, and that's great. But like, with that, with great power comes great responsibility. Even Spider-Man knew that, and like, he didn't abuse it. So,
I didn't know we were
at this,
going there. No,
but
keep going.
we
Okay.
always have to go there. That's my quote, but it's not. But we did. So just saying, like, we're this is what we're talking about here, is how this sort of world got created, and now what happens when these types of influencers and the obsession about what they post, the ripple effects that cause from it.
Right. And there's, so fascinating to me how general population, everyday people, and it's the same idea. It's a little bit how people are with certain celebrities, even. They have watched them so closely. They're almost, and then they draw their own conclusions about them. So it can be anything as when a fitness influencer is very open about, their personal life. And then they go through, there's one in particular right now who I guess went through a pretty public separation with her husband. And from what I've read, people are so obsessed with how the husband has been reacting on his Instagram about the divorce, and like he's sharing like who he's dating now. And I just wish in that, so when it comes to like that side of it, the obsession with like the person to the point where you think the person on a personal level because that influencer has let you in a little bit too close onto their personal
Yep.
life, that is really scary to me. That's a very sick place to be on social media, that you are watching someone that closely. And on the influencer side, that influencer felt so comfortable sharing the intricacies of their life. I think there's a very fine line, and that it's easily crossed because you get comfortable, especially in a day and age post pandemic where folks are more and more comfortable behind their keyboards and behind the screen. And they talk to people in their DMs like they're real life friends. And some folks will become your real friends as a result of that virtual connection. Exhibit A, Coach Nick and I.
Best
Well,
friends.
see, we are now best friends.
We did it. Yeah, we always were, even before
See,
you knew
that's
me.
where that's what I'm trying to share with you, dear listener. Yeah. So there's that side of it, and then there's the other side that you're referring to. The influencer starts to utilize their platform in a way that becomes really sketchy and almost like and too salesy.
And there's like another side though too, right? So there's, I don't want to say blame, right? There's things around all of this, right? There's the brands that offer the big money, but like, to them, they're advertising their product, and they used to probably have this big of a budget you have to have a video on. And now they have, now they can spend this little bit on a one influencer and like do it 50,000 times maybe to
But
catch
it's
their
a
old
lot for
budget.
that influencer.
So,
It's a lot for the
but it is
individual.
a lot for that influencer. So the brand is doing their marketing, and they're just changed. They chunked it up and give out smaller pieces and can get more reach than they ever had before. So to them, it's beneficial. And then there's the influencer who, has grown this platform, wants to make this, their livelihood, wants to make money. If something comes in that's big, and they're like, oh, well, I like this product. I don't know if I like this message, but like, it's 5 figures, 6 figures. I'd be dumb not to turn it down, right? I'm sure there sometimes is that, oh, should I do it? Should I not? Oh, what'll happen? But then there's the third level, which is the followers, right? And so, like, we talk about this often too. It's like, this obsession is not just with what they do, but it's like, they'll put up bad content and the people are in there trying to like be noticed. It's sort of like vibes like the high school vibe of like, oh, this person has a lot of followers and they're very popular in social media. I want them to notice me.
Let me
So I'm going to be in
excessively
there.
comment.
I'm going to always comment right away. I'm going like no matter what the content they're putting out, right? And like just try and push this up
It's
like
always
and
three
just
emojis.
if I get noticed, I'll get pushed, I'll get grow, so like, and I'll do it. If they want to push a product, I'll buy it. So it's like there's levels to this, and it's not just as simple. Like there's levels to blame because if people saw this and didn't comment, oh, what a great ad or what a great Advil ad, everyone knew what was going on. We weren't dumb. Like so,
No,
if you
I think
saw
some
this and you were
people,
like,
it's not that they were dumb. I think that they don't. I think some people, there were two things that were happening. There were people in the comment section like, proud of you, because those people weren't dumb and knew that the influencer was getting her bag or getting their bag, because it was also male identifying influencers, but the ones we're referencing here. Or there were people who were like, oh my gosh, I do that too. That's not good. And they didn't know that it was not good. And they see someone with a massive platform with even if you didn't believe the individual was credentialed, but I think one of them shares,
one's a
Michaela's a coach,
coach,
right?
one's well, she sells templates and other things, and the other one's a coach who actually has a
So
coaching
both of
company.
them
So there's like,
are quote unquote
yeah,
coaches.
they dabble in that world, right? Yeah, I mean, so if
That's scary.
that's detrimental to the world of so and but like then you can see like Ashley Mateo put out art like new like her research today of like how many people actually do this and like resonate to this and like obviously the problems with it. So like, again, these are moments where we should be educating, where like I get that people do it because I think a lot of us were shocked at how many people actually do this,
Right.
and I learned to, and my DMs are people like, oh, I do that, is that bad? And I'm like, well, yes, like like anything and too much is obviously bad, and like to use it to get through something is like once like maybe, but like if you can't get through any of your runs without this stuff, like there's something else going on, people,
And
and
the
like
knowledge is going to be
nothing.
power for you. So like if somebody, if you are somebody who we all make mistakes, right? So it's like if you know better, then you're going to want to do better. If you know that actually inflammation is a part of training and is good for adaptation, unless it gets to the point where it's an injury, in which case you need to not be on social media. You need to be reaching out to a physical therapist. It's like,
Or Advil.
well,
Or Advil.
we just went over that. We
No, no,
just
not Advil. Yeah, true.
You're
I was sorry,
giving
I was
me a headache.
influenced by
I've
my
actually never taken Advil, and I'm not trying to sound. No, I
never.
just so I
Oh,
actually when I saw that people called it vitamin I was like, "Oh my god, what is happening?" And it's
yeah,
not
it's
I just have
that's not.
never I have trust me, I have tons of other issues, but that was not one of the issues that I've had.
There is a battle of inflammation in the world of it, like that people are like think all inflammation is bad and we do it to
I
get
know.
rid, and it's like, oh, like no, that's not how
Everyone
any of this
immediately
works.
is like, "I'm going to ice it." And I'm like, "Oh my god, slow down. Let me send you to a physical therapist. Stop it."
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's that, and then there's just like, there's a lot of times we see, board certified dietitians or like board certified physical therapists or coaches. We don't have any board ethics, but we have our ethics we should follow, and depending what association you sign up for, you have some level of ethics too. But all three of them have some level. Influencers don't. There
Mhm.
is nothing that
There's no
like you can
regulatory
do whatever
body.
you want. It's the free market, and you can just someone says, tell everyone this product will save your life and give you everything you ever dreamed of, and it's a magic bean, and it will lead you a stock up to wherever. And you're like, okay, well, if you said it, I can buy it, and like there's nothing. They're fine with it. Everything's fine. No one cares because they're allowed to do whatever they want, right? So we have to also take sometimes we have to look and go, okay, well, they don't have to follow any rules or regulations. They're just getting paid. Do we choose this account to be part of the accounts we're interested in? Like, should we be in their DMs or their comments, like encouraging them? Should we, this is how people always feel. It always comes up when someone goes outside their lane in the world of social media, right? Oh, stick to sports, don't talk about politics. Don't, and the people are like, I'm done with you. So, in the same vein, like in social media fitness influencers, when they're pushing even dangerous rhetoric around products that we know, like we need to stand up and be like, okay, this is not for me, and I don't approve of this account, and I'm not going to
There's a
encourage it.
level of privilege here that I also notice. It tends to be when I think about the influencers who get the most engagement, right? To no surprise of anyone who is listening to our podcast, it's a societally acceptable image of a person. They have thin privilege. They run a fast finishing time. Maybe they quote unquote look fit. They tend to be able bodied. They have a real
They're 42 with a bald spot. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one.
It's
It
coming.
is?
It's coming. It's the next
Okay.
generation. Yeah.
Sponsored by Tylenol.
Sponsored by hair.
Yeah, so that's what gets the clicks and the hits. So anyway, wish that wasn't a credential because it's not,
Yeah.
but it is.
And like, and I was just going to say, like, also, like, a lot of people came out and felt like there was a lot of bullying going on and a lot of like, harping or talking about it too much. This always happens, right? With any issue, right? In the beginning, something happens, and then people get upset about it in one direction or the other. And if too many people get upset about something, give it a day or two, and then there's a new rash of people who are like, "Oh wait, too many people are against this thing. Now I'm going to defend it." Or vice versa, right? Like this always happens. Give it 3 days, and if everyone is aligned, now no one is aligned because now we have flipped, and now we're defending this person. We're upset. There's too much, and there's too everyone's piling on too much. To be fair, people do pile on because it's social media, and all of a sudden, if anything looks like it gets viral, we're gonna tear down anyone. If I do something wrong one day and everyone can
I'm the
pile on me to
first to
get
go
viral,
for
they'll
you.
do it, right?
I'm
Yeah,
making
I
a
mean, but
parody
everyone else will jump
video
on too
of your
because
hair.
so we do. There is some level of piling on that is unfortunate that exists in social media. To the larger part, there was very little bullying going on in the sense of we were trying to educate and we were trying to say that this is against everything us people who are in this sport who know what's going on. It is not good. It is bad and it is against what we stand for. And we're standing up to tell people who don't know what's going on. People maybe attacked the person too much, whatever. I'm not going to be the judge of that because I didn't see it all. I just stopped viewing the content because every time I view it, it goes more viral. But at the same time, we are trying to educate, and we sometimes we have to say the person's name or what they did and
Yes.
talk about it, and then move on. Eventually, I mean, because we have to. But it's not piling on. It's not bullying. It's not trying to ruin someone's business. People make mistakes, and we own our mistakes, and we move on.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. But the moral of this is like I think there is find society finds fitness and running influencers, and the ones who, as you mentioned, have certain aesthetics or certain looks or certain way they make content like is appealing to people. There are some things we can easily be influenced on, like
Hmm.
clothing, whatever, right? Like it's fine. There's 10,000 clothing brands at this point. There used to be like 8. So it's cool that one of the things I said to my athlete, I remember when COVID started, was what I think is going to come out of this is like people are going to have an opportunity to kind of make a life they didn't before because all these new opportunities are going to exist because of us being home and needing to find a new way. And I look back many years later, I'm like, it is cool that there's people have made clothing brands or made this or made a business out of this that didn't make sense before, created all these opportunities. I know people get angry because a lot of people are do their 9 to 5s and they're like, well, it's not fair that they can do this thing, but influencers are a part of society and they have earned a lot of them have earned their place at the table, earned their
Hmm.
money, earned their livelihood out of it. But at the same time, Like if I make a mistake at work, if an influencer does something that is detrimental, we should speak out and it's okay. They'll learn, they should. And then the next time we all just get better for it. The community gets smarter, we all grow. That's what we're hoping out of these opportunities. It's not to like destroy an influencer and be like, be done with them, never see their page. If they do this, if there's 10 more Advil ads over the next 6 months from the same influencer, then my opinion might be like, oh, they don't get it. And it's like, well, now we're having a problem here. But like, if we all grow as a community and
Right.
learn, we don't have to like tear someone down and destroy their career. I make mistakes at work all the time. I say I can't even read people's last name on this podcast. So I'm still
I
here.
apologize every single day. In fact, I make a joke with my students in classes and with my clients. I'm like, y'all, I made a mistake and I'm entitled to one mistake a class. So I make several a day. I wanted to also share today or last night, I posted something that has been on my mind for a while and it's in line with this conversation. So not only social media's obsession with influencers, but we as a society, how we see a following or a certain number and a metric. And I posted on Threads because I am genuinely curious if those folks who pay for their followers know that we as people who are watching them know that they've paid for their followers. I'm genuinely curious and I find it to be, and I understand, right? Because society has deemed a certain amount of followers, whether that's 10,000, 100,000, I don't know, as an expertise. In fact, there are companies, I mean, we know them. There are companies reach out to influencers or accounts based on the amount of followers and the amount of engagement that they have, right? So companies have become very smart. I know one of the companies that I specifically work for, they actually ask on content, how many comments did that receive? How many views did that receive? They don't care about the amount of even likes anymore. They want to know how many followers you say you have and the amount of comments or engagement on the post that you share on behalf of their brand. So when there's a disconnect, because there are several people, at least in my community, who work in the fitness industry who have a very large quote unquote following. But when you look at their content, they have 9 likes and like 23 people viewing the content. And they're growing exponentially for a short period of time. And I'm not even watching them. I'm just like, wait a second. This is
Yeah.
so weird that like this kind of content, they're doing so well. How do they have 20,000 followers? And then I'm like, when I click on the followers, only that person can see their followers. And it happens to be like accounts with no posts on it. Like the math is not mathing. But what we've done as a society is given such weight to the amount of followers somebody has versus credentials, expertise, and experience that it's made people feel as though this is how one is recognized, seen, and respected. And that's bullshit.
Yeah, you're only a good coach if you have 100,000 followers and you go viral 3 times a week. That makes you a good coach or a PT or a, nutritionist. But like people do like, oh, this person has a lot of followers. I want them to be my coach. And it's like, okay, like that's your prerogative, but like it doesn't matter, right? Like just because someone like does well at one thing, which is social media, which doesn't have anything to do, like the posts that you as a coach make that are the most coachable posts,
Right.
do the
They
worst. You're
always
always
do
gonna do
bad,
worse. Like it doesn't even matter. It's not even gonna matter if your entire content was only being a coach. You'd
especially
still
on
do terrible
Instagram.
because it's not.
I've noticed the nuance on
Yeah, because
TikTok is a little more allowable, but yeah, bad.
like yeah. Like it's hard because as a coach, it's not about us. So like I'm not going to go on there and be today my athletes did this and look how good I am and like that content would probably do better. But what am I? I'm not going to like that's not then I'm not being a coach. Right? It's not about me. So if you can make it about yourself, then sure. But like it doesn't. The number attached to your name doesn't make a credential. And we talked about that a lot on here. We say it. And like, at the end of the day, you want someone engaged in your life. And just because they have a lot of followers doesn't mean they'll be engaged in part of your journey, whether it's PT. And we talked about all this last year. We had PTs who were very involved through injuries and other things, dietitians who were very involved through the whole life cycle of running, performance, injury, rehab, whatever. Those are the people you want in your life. Those are the people that are going to be there, your ride or dies, that are going to support you. And that doesn't necessarily mean anything about how many followers or anything someone
No,
has.
not at all. Not at all. Anything else that we want to touch on?
There is nothing from my see what I did there.
I was very
Nothing from my
startled.
end. I think we touched them all. Yeah.
I loved this off the hinge conversation. It wasn't that off. It was
Yeah,
on.
me too. It's on brand. We always
We
keep it on
do.
brand here, even if we're talking about other stuff. We always bring it back.
We do.
Yeah, we update for everyone. When you listen to this, there will also be our Patreon will be out the same day. So we will have 2 episodes for you to listen on our Patreon. So head on over. We will put it in the show notes. We will both share it on our pages. It'll probably be in our bios on a link. But check it out. We're doing a little more over there. Amanda is sharing so much more, which is actually true because if she were to share like any detail of her life, it's so much more factually correct in that
That's
statement, but just a lot of more stuff. And we're diving into topics. We're getting a little more okay with, being really airing grievances out.
right.
So
Right.
hope you enjoy.
Yes, we do. We do. And I do want to say on here because we've definitely appreciated it. Our gel partnership with Crank Gel, e-gels and their turbo gel. We love seeing that y'all are fueling, and if it's Crank, if it's something else, we love that you are all fueling. But those of you who are using the code B2C at checkout to not only support yourself, but to support the pod has been so appreciated. Keep tagging us, keep using it, and share it with your friends. And let's keep everyone well fueled. And it's a small, but really, really wonderful and generous way to support Nick and I. So we thank you for that.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone, and keep tagging us if you do use them. We love
Yes,
it.
yes, yes, yes. So, with all that being said, we want to thank you all for joining us, and we hope you enjoyed this episode. You can reach out to us at any time on our Instagrams or at between2coaches@gmail.com, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.